Hey, what's up? It's Rashad, OG friend of him, Antonio. We back, Calrissian Kids, with Bad Batch quarterly update, episodes 9 through 12, focusing on these raggedy clones and Omega. So, episodes 9 and 10 are basically like a part one and part two. We have a content episode for 11, and then episode 12 is a crosshair only episode. All right, let's go ahead and get the first two out the way. Those like the simplest ones. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so episode 9 was called The Crossing, Sid is trash, for real. Like Sid, like Sid is gonna really have to do something to get me to change my mind about her, for real. Because at first I was
Yeah,
kind of cool with Sid and everything, but you now starting to see you like, and then people were like starting to warn them this season,
yeah,
saying
yeah,
early
yeah.
season about Sid, like, hey, watch your girl Sid, she's just about the money. So Sid sends the batch to extract this mineral called Ipsium or whatever. And it's like a super expensive, mineral or whatnot. And she's getting it from this colony, this mining planet or whatever, because she recently purchased a mine. And they have these different vaults on the mines and everything to find out, you can extract it and get the Ipsium. Some mines are wealthy in Ipsium, some mines are dried up, so it really
Pretty
depends.
much.
It's really was a crapshoot for her. So she sends them out there to do it. And this is coming off of Echo, leaving the batch to go work with our good old Captain Rex to help other clone troopers and stuff like that. So first of all, they they land the ship in possibly one of the most ridiculous spots you can land a ship. Like if you're looking, like it's like the the mine was here. There's a big old piece of mountain that's sticking up here, and they land the ship on the other side of the mountain, completely blocking the view of the ship. So Tet, Hunter, and Lil Omega, they're like, all right, we're gonna go on, we're gonna go ahead on the side. It was like, and they told Wrecker, hey man, watch the ship. I'm like, how, bro? Like, if you want him to watch the guard the gate, the entrance to get in and watch the ship, that's like virtually impossible. Like,
he
you,
he,
you
he got to
gotta,
pick a struggle, y'all.
yeah, pick a struggle. So, like I said, they're still coming off of, Echo leaving. And Omega that we saw over this past season so far, she has developed a relationship with Echo, and she's really taking it hard. I think the other batch members are kind of taking it a little hard too, but they understand. So
Yeah,
they understand what it is. But Omega isn't. And so like, they're in the mine looking and stuff, and they're like, yo, what's wrong with you? Echo, Tech is like, what's wrong with you? And she's just like, you know, Echo's gone. And he was like, yeah, he's gone. Let's go ahead and get this mission going. And she's just
yeah.
like, what? She's like, what? Like you act like you don't care. And he's just like, man, look here, man. We got a mission to do. Look, Echo's gone. It is what it is. Let's just get this over with. And she's like really pissed that he's doing this. And me and Rashad, we discussed this a little earlier, and you was like, "What you say about Tech? What you
Oh
say?
yeah,
Tech is
yeah, yeah.
showing."
Tech is basically on the spectrum because we,
Mm-hmm.
we got we got Tech who is very much about numbers on a
Mm-hmm.
job, doesn't show any emotion, is like overly logical and analytical with everything. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
basically made a soldier who was on the spectrum. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's that's
Yeah. So,
that's
and that makes
boy.
plenty of sense. You're saying that. So they're trekking into this, looking for the Ipsium, and like Omega just gets pissed at how Tech is carrying this or whatever, is just pissed at how Tech is carrying this. And she's like, I need to be alone. And she's like, her face balls up. It is funny because her face balls up just like how her brother that we saw, he was younger. Boba Fett's face used to ball up, where he used to be pissed about that. That's one thing I did notice.
That's a
And
good
so
call. Oh yeah.
yeah, and so she's walking away, and then you see like and Tech is just like, yeah, all right. And then like Hunter and Dago Wrecker are looking at him like, bro, like,
What are
what are
you
you doing?
doing, man?
And he's like, what? And they're like, man, go after her. And he like, man, we gotta do this job, man. I ain't worried about that little girl or whatever. They're like, man, go get after her. So in the process of them, they're doing their thing. Their ship gets stolen. Like I said earlier, they put it in the most blind spot possible. Their ship gets stolen. And so Omega is going into the cavern and everything, and they're like, and they find like one little small Ipsium deposit, and they drain it or whatnot. And so he's trying to talk to her like, hey, yo, like, he's gone. Let's get over it. We got a job to do. So they try to get back to the ship, and lo and behold, the ship is missing. And they're like, and you see they're on edge. They're like blaming each other, and it's like, Wrecker, you're supposed to watch the ship. He's like, hey, man, how am I supposed to watch it from over here? You told me watch the door too. And so they're about to start arguing with each other. They're like, look, man, we got to find our ship. And they was like, look, man, that ship is probably long gone by now. And they did the little census and said, hey, there's a town like so many clicks away. Let's try to get to this town. You know what I'm saying? Plus the storm is coming through. We got to get out of here and try to get so they find before they even get to this town, the storm hits them, catches them, and they like say screw it. And there's like a mining deposit, another Ipsium mining deposit. They break in that thing, get it in just to get out the storm. And so they're in there, and then once again, like Omega's still like frustrated and showing her upsetness. That's even a word, but upsetness about being, you know what I'm saying, about Echo being gone. And then Tech says probably the most unsensitive thing ever. He was like, look here. We were fine without him, before him, with him, and we're gonna be fine without him. And she's like, you know what? That's the last straw. I'm out. And so she goes deeper into the cave. And once again, they're looking at this dude like, bro, like, you're not reading the room here, which once again goes back to what you said, Rashad, that he's showing that he's on the spectrum or something like that. Like he doesn't know. Emotions have been wiped out. It's just numbers, stats, and facts for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, only.
So he goes to try to find her, and in the process, Omega finds like this stupid huge Ipsium deposit, and she's like, screw this, I'm getting it myself. And we know how little Omega is, she's miss I can do anything, and all this. And Tech catches up with her and was like, hey, what you doing? And she's like, oh, you found one, all right, let's try it. She was like, yo, be careful. She's like, I'm fine. And the next thing you know, boom, a little bit blow up, cavern caves in, and they fall into like an underground, like what, river? Almost like lake, river or something like that.
Like a lagoon. I don't know. It was real.
Yeah.
What did Hugh Hefner have at his mansion?
A grotto.
Yeah.
Yes. Somebody went to a grotto. And so, the whole time they're doing their thing and they're talking, and then finally they come to an accord, and he says, listen, he finally admits to her, like, yes, we're going to miss Echo, but he had his path he needed to go on and stuff, but we're here. We're still here. We'll do this. And it's not like we're not going to see Echo again type thing. And she kind of, relents to that. So in the process, they contact the other guys, and they, they find out where they are. They got to go through the whole river, undergo the grotto river thing or whatnot. And they get out and they say, hey, let's go ahead and try to get to this town and finish up. So that was basically that first episode 9. Then we get episode 10. And that episode is like a continuation. They get to the little town and they realize, oh God, there's nothing here at this town. It's deserted. It's nothing. Definitely. Wrecker needed a Snickers because he was hangry. He was like, man, our rations are gone. They was like, man, anybody tell you eat up all your rations? He said, man, y'all said the ship should be here. When he was pissed, he was hungry as hell. And and he's like, and so they're like, what are we gonna do? And then it was like, Omega was just like, hey, I can't think of the name of the robot's name they have. The robot is still on the little energy, the robot that helps power up the ship, saying?
Yeah, little gong droid.
Yeah, gong droid. It's like, hey man, that's still on the ship. We should be able to track it. And it was like, you know what, you're right. And they found the location for the ship. So what happened is this: the ship was stolen by this kid, and he's part of another mining community. And he steals the ship to try to they try to they're gonna make good with the person in charge of that minor community, Moko or whatever. And so the kid name is Benny Barrow. Sounds like a gangster name too, by the way. The
It
kids,
does.
you know, Benny Barrow. And so he steals the ship, and he steals the ship to try to get in good with Moko, to be like, hey man, look, I'm here. Look, man, can you hook me up with some more food? I want to get into your inner circle. And he's like, you know what, kids, you might actually, you know what I'm saying, be top earner coming up this little period right here. Yeah, you might do good. And so they're just mining Ipsium and doing stuff to be able to get some food from this guy or whatever, because he's fed to them like, hey man, we ain't hardly got no food. You know what I'm saying?
It's rough out here for us, yo.
It's rough out here. You know what I'm saying? It's rough out. It's like city boys are down right now, yo. We trying to make it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make it. We trying to make it out here. You know, I can only do but so much. Man, let me tell you something. That once again, not only is the Empire trash, but there's other people out here that are ultimate trash. You later see this guy in his little, I guess, his little room, his little area that he has. My man has all the food in there, and I mean plenty of food. And he is like, what's the thing, Rashad, when the people are like eating and they're trying to hear how it sounds, ASMR or whatever, like
yeah,
that.
Yeah. ASMR.
He's like ASMR, like gorging, like how they do in the
funny.
ASMR video. He was like, oh, he's just ramming, and you just sitting there looking like, yo, these kids are starving, bro, and you doing this. And so then he comes out and he says, all right, this is who our top earner is, and this is one kid who always messes with Benny Barrow. And he's like, you keep trying, man. You'll never beat me. I'm the top earner every time. And he was like, I think I'm going to get it this time. And I bought him a spaceship. Man, Moko came out and named the same dude as the top earner, gave him a plate of soup by itself. Mind, like I said, he had all this other lavish, delicious food in his room. And he says, all right, kids, maybe next time. And it's like about 8 kids. So he says, here's your ration. He puts one small bowl, like a bowl out, for like 8 kids to fight and jump in just to get a spoonful of it. I said, yo, this dude is garbage.
It almost reminds me of like Beast of No Nation. You know what I'm saying? Where you had like the warlord, then you had like everybody. He's just like, you know, basically just brainwashing the kids to do their bidding.
Yeah, man, it was horrible. So in the meantime, the batch catch up and find this kid. And it's like, hey, of course, they send record. Record's like, hey, yo, he lift the kid up. Where's our ship at, kid? He's like, what ship? And it was like, really? He was like, okay, cool. I'm sorry. This is how it is. Y'all, but you don't want to cross Moko. Like, and I'm like, kid, Moko don't want to mess with the batch. That's what I'm like.
Not at all.
You have no idea what these guys can do or whatnot. And so he helps them, and basically they send Omega to go in with him, and Omega's with him. And then he had noticed earlier that Omega was hungry and needed something, and like Hunter broke off some of his food and said, here you go, have it. And he was like, hey man, why did he give you your food, give you his food or whatever? She's like, yeah, we share everything, we're a team, we're a family. And he was like, what is this nonsense you speak of? Like, you don't have to earn. I was like, we're family.
What is a family?
What is a family? She was like, he was like, what's a family? Who's Dom Toretto? Family? What are we doing? Family? The hell is family? Dom Toretto would be disgusted at this kid or whatever. Fast and Furious reference.
Quarter mile at a time.
And so this kid is like helping them try to tank the shields down so they can get the ship up out of there. But he's also like, if I can bring Mako these people as well, I can still be a top earner spot. Yeah. So he betrays the
I can give me some unmolested soup too.
Some unmolested soup, you know what I'm saying? And so he betrays them, and they're like, for real? She's like, for real, yo, whatever. He was like, you don't understand how we do it here. And so make a long story short, they eventually find out that Moko basically has been hiding money from these kids, has been hiding all the food from these kids. and they snap, and it's basically like a shootout with Moko, the Batch, and the kids helping out, Moko and his little hired hands. Moko dies and whatnot. And so the kids basically take over the mining community, and they say, hey, we're going to share everything equally. This is some, do some trash. And that's how that episode ends. Mind you, also, before that, they had contacted Sid to show Sid was trash before they even got this ship and who it was. They said, hey, Sid, can you help us? We need to get our ship here. We need to get out of here. We lost our ship. It'll take about maybe 4 cycles. It was like, what? 4 cycles? Like, yo, we do all this for you. We do all this for you. And you that he was like, hey, you ought to be happy. Sid always throws that in. You ought to be happy. Like, you do this type stuff. I'm like, yo, Sid, you're trash, man.
Speaking of Sid, did you realize who voices Sid?
No.
It's Rhea Perlman.
Really?
Yeah. That's Sid.
Oh my God, that's real.
It don't make sense now, don't it?
Yes, it does. And you know what Rhea Perlman's doing? She is she's channeling her inner Wormwood from this movie Matilda. Remember how she was in the movie, or if you ever saw Matilda, and she was Matilda's like mom who was trash with Danny DeVito. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And yes, that is definitely Rhea Perlman. Now that I can hear that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, so that little arc ended. That's it. Then we get to go ahead.
Episode 11 is Metamorphosis. And this is our tribute to one Ridley L. Scott in the form of an Aliens episode. And we bring him back the Zillow Beast from Clone Wars.
And possibly the first kind of horror episode too, as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Because Aliens is horror. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah.
So yeah, we on the same page. So Sid once again says, hey, this is down Imperial ship on this planet. Y'all can go there, y'all can probably mine it and see what y'all can get. And we can go like, she said like what, like 80-20, some ridiculous price. And they was like, nah, man, we need to go 50-50 on this. And she was just trying to bargain. And it was like hard pass then. And she was like, all right, yo, I'm gonna be nice and let y'all do 50-50. So they end up going to this ship and this planet, and the ship is wrecked. And get inside the ship, it's like, yo, like, where is the crew?
And don't forget the Empire is looking for the ship because it's their ship that crashed.
Empire's looking for the ship too. Empire ship. And even the beginning of the episode when they show the ship is in space, and it's basically gonna head for a crash and landing. And then you see this one droid, and not droid, this one stormtrooper, and he's like he just looks super afraid. Then he gets snatched up. So fast, and the ship, cuts to the beginning of the episode. So the Bastards there, and they're just surveying the ship, trying to figure what's going on. And it's like, yo, all right, yo, we about to split up. And Omega was like, split up? Yo, you see what's going on in here? Yo, why we splitting up? And
that was possibly the blackest thing Omega has ever. Like, what? What the hell you mean split up?
Why is we doing this, yo? Like, we should be together. We're family. You know what I'm saying? so her and Tech go together, and Hunter and Wrecker, they go to the other side of the ship. And it's crazy because they feel like something is there, but they just can't see it. And Tech is trying his best to put the power back on the ship, right? And he gets the power on a little bit. And then he sees like something behind him, and it's a droid. And this droid is like, danger. Danger. And then the droid dies too.
Yo, that droid was like, help, danger. It's like it's the stereotypical thing from a horror movie or something like that, where people are searching for something. They find like one person that survived, and they're like barely alive, and they're like, "Hey, what's wrong?" Dang, and they say like one word or something. They just die in the person's arms. Yo.
Yeah, they just speaking out of the trauma that they just witnessed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing's coherent. So they finally turn all the energy back on, the power back on. And then eventually the Zillow beast, appears, and this thing is like is elusive because it's dodging them the whole time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's up in the rafters, it's behind them. You know what I'm saying? Like they's looking like the daggone Three Stooges in here trying to get away from this thing. And then wow, that's nobody's gonna understand that reference at all.
Yeah,
So
at all.
so they're also noticing that, well, the audience, we are noticing that the Zillow beast is feeding on energy. You know what I'm saying? So the raw energy of the ship, he's like basically eating that.
And every time they shoot it too, it's just
and it
thank
gets
you.
bigger.
May I have another? Yeah.
And it gets bigger. So they're like, yo, this is the energy blast. This ain't doing it, yo. So they end up exploding the side of the ship. The Zillow beast runs out and heads towards the city. And then we get our King Kong reference, because it climbs up the tower and like starts to just devour the town's energy, and it just gets huge. By this time, on the other side of the galaxy, the Empire is like, hey, we got some new you know, Imperial bad dude. You know what I'm saying? He comes through and he tells to Salama Sue, say, hey, why are you here in jail, man? Like, you should be out helping us do the thing with the cloning. You know what I'm saying?
We need some more clones. Cloning
we can
stuff
help
we
you.
trying to do.
And rightfully so, she's like, you killed my entire civilization. I don't really feel like doing any work. And he's like, oh, okay. You'd be a great use of the Empire, though. And then he ends up doing the most masterful thing, was getting the other last living Kaminoan and Nalase, Nalase, I think. Yeah. And this dude has always been trash. He's still trash. He said, yeah, you want to get her to work? Find Omega. That'll get her to work. So I said, okay. Little seed planting there for next couple of episodes. And he says, yeah, get the Zillow beast back. We need it back. We need it back alive. So the Empire,
that was the most important thing. We want it back alive.
Empire shows up, and the Batch is like trying to help the town, and Empire's like coming through, acting like they're helping too. Ends up snatching up the Zillow beast. Real. They was real efficient about how they did it too. Grabbed it up, hoisted it into the into the destroyer or whatever it was,
and put it on ice.
Then they bounced, and the rest of the people, they took the whole town.
Yeah.
They said, "Hey guys, y'all gotta come with us now, yo!" Like,
it was very. That was very like reminiscent of what you see in certain movies. Like if there's some type of outbreak in a town or something like that, and they're like, hey, and the government knows it happened, they'd be like, hey, no survivors. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't let nobody out survive this or whatever. Bomb that town, or else, snatch up everybody and they're coming with us. That's exactly what the Empire did. Once again, staying true to the trash that the Galactic Empire is.
Yeah, and that's basically how the episode ends, because like the Batch is like, we got some files from the ship. We're gonna pass these off to Echo and our boy Rex and see what's going on, because like this is crazy. The Empire should not be doing this. So yeah, that basically ends that episode, which is a really decent episode. You know what I'm saying? But then we get to the best episode out of all these joints.
Yeah, episode 12. And you know what's crazy? In my opinion, the two best episodes this season have been the Crosshair centric episodes. The first Crosshair episode where we had Commander Cody come back, and this episode right here. And so we start this episode off like at I guess on Imperial base or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Crosshairs is, doing this thing when he's chilling, toothpick in hand, just leaning against the ship, waiting for his orders, no helmet on. And here comes this guy. I don't even know what this mofo's name. He was a dick. Like, it's like, is that on the application to be like to be in the Empire, to be like in charge? You have to be. And he had the smug, that smug British accent too. He Crosshair. He calls him by his call numbers, and he's like, "Trooper, you're out of uniform." Crosshair's like, "All right," that spits the toothpick out, put his helmet on, and he's like, He says, "Yeah, we got to go do this to this outpost." Blah 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 blah, and then he notices that it's other troopers, other clone troopers on this thing, and this guy is so indifferent, and he's like, "Ugh, clone troopers." And Crosshair, this is the first time you kind of see Crosshairs be like, "Yo, you got a problem with my people? Like, you got a
Yeah.
problem with troopers?" And he said, "I don't like using used, what do he say, used items or something like
It's
that. Like,
used objects.
yeah, I don't like using used objects." I said, "What? Wow." And so you Crosshair, even though Crosshair has his helmet on, you saw that head tilt like, "Mofo, what you just say? Like, for real, cuz?" Like, you could see it, you
Yeah,
could
he
see
was
it
hot.
in the body movement. He was hot. So they get to this outpost on this frozen daggone planet, another ice planet in the Star Wars universe. And they get to the outpost, and because they're saying that they keep getting raided by
Yeah.
locals and all this stuff like that. So they get to the outpost, and the person that's in charge of the outpost is another clone. His name is Mayday. And Mayday comes out. And then, of course, this dick of a daggone officer. And if you think about it, he actually is ranked higher than the dude, because Mayday was a commander and this dude was a lieutenant. And he's just like, "What's going on here?" He's like, "Yeah, commander, blah, blah, blah." He was like, "Look here, man. He says, I put in an order months ago to get some backup out here to help, man, and whatever." And he was like, "The Empire has better things to do. It is your job to protect this. Where are all your people at? Where are all your soldiers at?" He said, "Hey, come with me." And they go inside, and there's only 2 soldiers left. So it's only, altogether is 3 of them. And he's like, "Where are all your soldiers?" He said, "You looking at them?" He's like, "Look, this is all we got here," or whatever. And the guy's like talking, he was like, and I love how Mayday kept referring to him as lieutenant, because it's kind of like a disrespectful thing. Like, yeah, they put you out here to be in charge, but I'm still like, you know what I'm saying, officer wise over you, lieutenant. He just kept calling him lieutenant. He's like, "Well, I'm in charge now of this outpost." And he says, "It's not my fault that you got all your men killed." I say, "Yo, really, dude? This is
Yeah,
what we
he
doing?"
was not on. He was really acting like a bastard the whole time, yo.
Yeah, and so Crosshair kindly finally talks to the guy. That's when the guy introduced himself as Mayday, Crosshairs, and he's like, "Yo, what happened to your men?" He was like, "Hey, man, you know what I'm saying, orders war. It happened." Because the guy Mayday and his boys, they had a little monument in a room to all the men they lost with their helmet lined up along the wall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so in the middle of that process, the base came under attack, because Mayday and Crosshairs went outside, and he was like, seeing perimeter. And Mayday was telling Crosshairs trying to go out further. He was like, "Hey, man, it ain't a good idea to go out there, saying, by yourself." And he was like, "Why your sensors ain't pick up the people?" He says, "This is why." And he hit it, and it just said like a little, it was shut down for a couple of seconds, come up. He said, "Hey, man, we've been trying to get help out here, new equipment. The Empire isn't helping." And in the process of all of this, Crosshairs is noticing that the Empire is unadulterated, unmitigated trash himself. He's like really
Yeah.
starting.
Yeah. It's
He's
really
really
starting to
starting to
sink
see it.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever. And because he always, this whole thing is with, "Man, we soldiers. We soldiers. That's all I know. We soldiers." And so in the process of their base coming under attack, the rebels were able to get like what, two caches of what they was protected. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
this jerk tells them, he's like, "Y'all need to get the stuff back." He was like, "Hey, all right, cool. Give me some men so we can go back." He was like, "No, I'm putting it up to y'all two by y'allself. Go out there and get the daggone product back, or it's gonna be a problem." And they're looking like, "All right, man, whatever, dude. Let's go." So Crosshairs and Mayday go out, and they see where the folks are, and the whole time they're talking, and Mayday is just saying, "Yo, it got to be a better way." It's stuff like this.
Yeah. He even
And
tells
even
him like, he was like, "Yo, we was good soldiers. We follow orders,
mm-hmm.
and this is what's coming of us essentially." So yeah, this was really the prodigal son episode
Mhm.
for Crosshair.
Yeah. And to put this in real life terms, this is kind of like what happened to a lot of soldiers, especially Vietnam soldiers when they came back from Vietnam. They weren't really taken care of. Don't get me started on black soldiers during World War II. You know what I'm saying? During that, they get these high ranks and stuff, and then they come home and they still can't even go into a daggone diner and buy a cup of coffee at the counter and stuff like that. But that's neither here nor there. Just wanted to. That's the type of plight the troops are going through. So Mayday and Crosshair is out there. They see it. They see where these people are. They attack them, and they get the product. But Crosshair, Trigger, Happy Tail, whatever, he sets off kind of like a bomb, and what happens? An avalanche hits.
Yeah.
And they're trying to outrun an avalanche, and Mayday actually saves Crosshair. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because there's like a rock, and it's like what they say, a rock in a hard place. That avalanche, like basically Mayday pushed him out the way, and Mayday took the full brunt of the avalanche slamming up against that rock. And even though he did get covered up, he didn't get covered up too much. Crosshairs was able to get out, and he finds Mayday, because early in the episode he was like, he says, if I die out here, what happened? He was like, I'm gonna leave you. He was like, yeah, remind me never to die out here around you, what that. But Crosshairs went and saved him, and they was walking, trekking back across to where they had to go. And when they get back to the base, like, they just collapse. And mind you, they lost the cargo. This jerk, I see you came back without the cargo. And like Crosshairs was like, hey man, get my man some help here. He's dying.
Yeah, I
And
need a
he's like,
medic.
I'm not about to. He's like, we need a medic. He's like, I'm not about to waste the Empire resources on a clone. Yo, that right there, and you was like, what? And I think that right there is what put him at the tipping point. But then when Mayday passed away right there in front of Crosshairs, and Crosshairs was like, hey man, like, he's dead. You could have saved him. And then he was like, yeah, whatever. He served his purpose.
Get back to work.
And he walked away. Get back to work. That's what pushed Crosshair over the edge. He was like, yeah. He grabbed his gun. He said, hey, Lieutenant. My man turned around. He put 2 in his chest. Bow, bow. Killed him, and then just dropped down and passed out. And the troopers was like, stormtroopers was like, yo, this dude just killed our, superior. What the hell? What the hell? Also, in the process, they found out what the cargo was. It was the new stormtrooper uniforms. And that's in armor. And that's pissed off, like, really started to piss off them even more. So next thing you know, you see, Crosshairs is coming too, and he's like in a lab or something. And he's in a lab with his woman. I missed early in episode, right before it started, when Crosshair was waiting for his orders, this lady, that same woman, was walking with some other troopers. And those other troopers like, yo, so we just being pushed to the side like some dog, like, my time is up. What am I supposed to do? Ain't nobody protecting us, type thing.
Oh, that's
that was the same
person?
That was the same chick. She was a clone person or whatever, because she had the little
she was one of the Kaminoans. And they used to work in the facility with clones. Yeah.
In the facility. So,
like Dr. Pershing.
So then, Dr. Pershing from Amanda Lawrence. So she basically was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, Crosshairs, this and that. He's like, he was like, yeah, we're gonna work on you. So I think they're gonna try to, like, re-implement the chip or try to do some stuff with him or whatnot. And that's how basically the episode ends. But yeah, man, like I said, the 2 episodes this season that featured Crosshairs, and mind you, he's only been in 2 episodes, were to me the best episodes so far. But that was the Bad Batch, the third quarter of the Bad Batch. We covered down to the fourth quarter now.
Yeah, for real. You're right. I don't want to say it, man, but like, the show is better when Crosshair is in it.
Yeah.
Infinitely better.
Infinitely better. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get to the point where he's like a more of a mainstay, whether he gets a redemption arc or he becomes the true villain and just tries to hunt down the Bad Batch on his own. Either way.
Or he becomes a martyr. So
yeah, I don't want the martyr part. That sucks.
Yeah,
man. But that's it for this. You know what I'm saying? Bad Batch recap. We see you all on Monday. Last episode of The Last of Us. with that review, 7 p.m. right here on YouTube with the Upon Further Review podcast. That's it, y'all. Peace.